I've taken some time to reflect on this. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels...
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing.
So that... You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to... I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion, when vague images... I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on the power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way.
No. I have no intention of returning it. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never I think we could turn that to our advantage.
Wow, and just like...
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can. In terms that they...
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos.
Sethos.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first...
I have no objections, although we do have our own...
Only one way...
Follow me. Keep your voices down.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his he appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been... Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what
Yeah.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also... So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring...
Yeah, there's no time to waste here.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar...
Right. And you didn't create this situation.
You're right. We both... I accept, Sino. This all began... Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved that group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence, and the sparring matches were enshrined as one of our...
Sounds very fitting.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep.
3 against 3.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity.
None needed. We're on the same... If I win, the Temple of Silence if you win.
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the ceremony.
Well, after how that went,
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me.
You have to win. You need this power.
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you...
Both as general... Yeah. When you put it that way.
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never...
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the race. But there must be personal factors at work here, too. I can't shake the feeling that Ba-Moon cares for many more things than he lets on. Tomorrow.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of... This is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no representing the Temple of Silence, the Defenders.
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after all these...
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather.
Representing the Academia, the Challengers.
Ready. We will fight to have our voices heard.
Warriors, take your... We come not to debate what brings our challengers here, nor what will become...
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her out for...
Okay, then you're...
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her!
Little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
Hey!
A swift end to the first bout. I now invite the duelists. When you're both ready,
Let's begin.
Watch out!
Go, Canary, go!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
thus ends the second bout.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of the... When you're both ready.
I am Sethos, vessel of Hermanubis, grandson of Ba-Moon, the leader of the Temple of Silence. For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And even in our darkest, we earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and power. Now, I will fight to become the rightful wielder of that power!
I am Sino, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of Spontamod. I fight in defense of my power, my professor, and my nation. And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel, and Hermanubis is watching. So bare your soul.
Everyone, My grandfather is a wise leader. He is also known, but our faith has held us back for too long. Times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free than I thought of you, Sino. Each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for some. I once thought that the nature of our fragments must be what makes us so.
I am more than just a warrior.
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us. So show me your answer, Sino. Show me I can be more than my faith, more than the power I wield. Show me the person I can become! Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer?
Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tule-Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tule-Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tynarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tule-Tula. the king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our Lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tule Tula Tainarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tule Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos.
I know.
I guess you were prepared for this.
Yeah, he's been on death's door for at least he was able to see.
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes, the Temple of Silence should
But that's never going to work. I did foresee this possibility, and I gave it some thought. The fact is, Sethos, I believe were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your... I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamoon looked very surprised by the...
Well, in any case, Sethos, I would like you to succeed Bamoon as the new leader of the Temple of Silence.
But doesn't that render everything that we've...
No, it doesn't. This experience, that's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said yourself.
I will try.
Actually, part of me wonders whether Bamoon's intentions from the very beginning were that way. No matter who won, one of us would have to... Had you won, the Temple of Silence would have... And were I to win, He correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop it. He knew that the temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the academia. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the academia.
And here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all these You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. We had to find a way to mend our relationship. Thank you for everything, Sino. As a gesture of our gratitude, to those that you and the Temple of Silence has a wealth of information on King Deshret's civilization, more than any other organization in existence today. But you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates. By the way, Tainari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the Voluka. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tainarians. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tainarian companions. They always stood by each other. From the founding of the Temple of Silence, the Tainarians who left Tuletula joined their human counterparts in the rainforest. A few centuries later, when some of the group returned to the desert, in all likelihood, those were your—
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tainarians, but I never knew that my forebears had such a history with the Temple of Silence.
I like this story.
By the way, has anyone—
yes, Cyrus. You'll probably find him in my
If it's true that you and your grandfather really planned for everything...
Who knows? Perhaps all of us.
Someone's got to make the decisions. I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali, and arrange for an official delegation from the— I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. But once things return to normal, if we're going to work together...
I will. All right, well...
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
Grandfather, from this day on, the Temple of Silence